Um, Hello all. I'm late by a few minutes. We had a power cut here, so I had to rejoin with my data. So little delay of a minute or two. So now today's class we are talking about uh, the media under media law and ethics. It is we would be going about with media acts. So under media acts, we will be talking about laws relating to defamation, laws relating to rights, media, and human rights. So when we are talking about what do we mean by rights and human rights? When we are talking about rights, it is in general about the fundamental rights and all the other rights as the citizens. And human rights are those which are basic to the humans, like if something like food, shelter, and clothing, and um, the right to education. So these are very basic to the humans for their existence and survival. So we are talking about those rights as well. So basically, it is all about these rights that uh, uh, we would be talking about. So now coming to why are how is media connected to law? Because as we know, as we have been understanding, we have three wings. The Constitution provides us with three wings of the democracy, wherein we're talking about legislature, executive, and judiciary. And the fourth three pillars are legislature, executive, and the fourth pillar is obviously the fourth pillar being the media. Now, the legislature prepares the laws for the society, executive implements them, and it is the role of judiciary to see to it that it is whatever is done according to the law. But the judiciary, the fourth estate, that is the press, the media, has to see to it that has performs the duty objectively and try to see to it that all the functions, all the organs of the constitution are functioning within public interest and the national interest. So, but even media has certain responsibilities to go about. So to see to it that the media is not uh, 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 going beyond the framework of framework of the guidelines provided by the Constitution. There are certain laws and acts that enable media to function within the given framework. So now coming to laws relating to defamation. So we have something like Contempt of Court Act 1971, Indecent Representation of Women Act, Women Prohibition Act of 1986, Children's Act of 1960, defamation, IPC sections, the Indian Penal Code sections relevant to media. So these are the aspects that we are talking about through the through this unit. When we're talking about media, obviously we exchange it to press, and when we say press, it includes both print and electronic media, and also radio, magazines, newspapers. So all these information carriers come under press, and it is considered to be the fourth estate. Uh, it 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 acts as the watchdog of public affairs, and though it provides the entertainment, commercial element, the entertainment element, it is the press has the major responsibility of trying to be able to protect this to safeguard the way the society functions, and and present issues in an objective way. Coming to Contempt of Court Act of 1971. Like Parliament, the judiciary is an important and indispensable organ of the government. With the growth of the constitutional and democratic forces, the concept of the fundamental rights of the citizens have taken a concrete shape, and it is the role of the judiciary to perform such responsible and onerous tasks. The freedom of speech and expression is one of the fundamental rights given in Article 19(1)(a), and freedom of the press is one such freedom included in the term expression. Um, the press acts as the watchdog, and many a times, uh, most of the investigative stories, the investigative journalists have brought into the limelight the imbalances in the way the government functions, or the way the loopholes are used by industrialists and the politicians, and so the press acts as a very as an eye to the to eye on the society to protect the public interest. The Contempt of the Court Act was passed with to regulate the procedure, like in relation to the way the court proceedings are covered. Um, uh, like for example, it codifies the law that um, that um, that if certain uh, um, certain certain topics or certain issues are not to be covered by the media is refrained from covering those topics. The media has no right to either publish or print or discuss about those topics in the media, or put them open for the print. So, any kind of willful breach that is done in terms of covering the court procedures can be considered as a civil contempt. Like it is a willful disobedience of any judgment, decree, direction, order. Like if, for example, if there is a case that is in the court of law, and the court gives a direction or a decree stating that that topic should not be discussed in the media before the verdict has been put out, then the court has, then the print has, the media has no right to take up any kind of such cases and debated. So it is essential that the media obeys such kind of orders. Um, so, criminal contempt means the publication, whether of the words or of any matter of the doing of any other, that scandalizes or the lowers the authority of the court. If there is any kind of a document or a visual presentation that doubts the integrity of the court, or says that the court is not functioning in the way it was supposed to, or it is not being objective, then such kind of contempt is considered as a civil contempt, criminal contempt. Or if the media interferes or tend to interfere with the due course of any judicial proceedings. Um, such kind uh, of an act is also considered to be a criminal contempt. So, but if the publication is innocent and it does not is not in terms of questioning the authority, then it is not considered to be contempt. Any kind of fair and accurate reporting of what is being done, like whatever has happened in the court as some kind of a hard news where there is no analysis or no subjective interpretation, then it is considered to be not to be contempt. Any kind of fair criticism is also accepted. Um, so, such steps are considered to be not to be contempt. So, the classic example in the case of where the scandalization of the court or the judges would be considered as as a criminal contempt. In the case is the Bharadakanta Mishra versus Chief Justice, where the concept of contempt court is that the public should be protected from obstruction to public justice. Um, uh, so, like for example, the case of there was a number of web series that have come into existence, and even the Netflix has aired that web series, and a movie also has been made on the death of that girl who was doctor um, in Delhi. Such when there has been a lot of uh, um, interpretations, discussions that was done, but finally there was no way um there was no conclusion that was um, finally that has come out. So, uh, so whenever such kind of things goes, like where the conclusion is not very clear, the witnesses are not around, and because of that, it is difficult to come up with a verdict. So at such cases, questioning the integrity of the judges or any kind of allegation is considered to be contempt. Um, um, sometimes contempt happens because to change the mood of the people, but sometimes sometimes the proceedings happen for the classic example is the Jessica, the murder of Jessica. A movie also has been made where an NDTV reporter has pursued the case and saw to it that the grandson of a famous politician was brought to court and and was sentenced for a lifetime jail sentence, wherein the court, wherein the media, the it was initially taken up by an NDTV reporter, where a lot of effort has been put in to gather the witnesses, and a fair criticism of a judgment does not amount to contempt, and so with a lot of effort, such kind of works by the media, though it is not about influencing the way the judgment has to be done, but also bringing to light otherwise unrepresented voices of the people, that doesn't come under contempt. um, uh, if someone is doing it in a mischievous way, or somewhere to bring in or unnecessarily indict a judge, then it comes under contempt. So it becomes a contempt when it creates an apprehension in the minds of the people regarding the integrity, ability, or the fairness of the judge, tends to deter litigants from placing complete reliance upon the court's administration, or likes to cause embarrassment in the mind of the judge. Such kind of things come under contempt. So, what can come under scandalization? Anything that can be writing to judge about his malice or his dishonesty, making aspersions on the judicial activity, as in the case of Advocate General versus Subbarao in the case of 1976, making aspersions in pleading an application, Judge Sharif versus judges, and making aspirations in a memo for the appeal to the Supreme Court, Abdul Karim versus Prakash. So, prejudices or interferes or tends to interfere with the due course of any kind of judicial proceedings. So, so prejudice is to obtain a result of legal proceedings different from that which would follow in the ordinary course. If there is a prejudice, there is already an opinion that has been made, and because of that, if the legal proceedings are different to that of the ordinary course, then it comes under prejudice. It is important to note that the intention of the alleged commentator is immaterial, but anything that is something that can be or towards indicting judges, it doesn't, it calls for contempt of court. Now, coming to the next act, the Indecent Representation of Women Act, Women Prohibition Act. So, the Indecent Representation of Women Prohibition Act, it is administered by the Department of Women and Child Care, Ministry of Human Resource. And as the name says, that any kind of advertisement or any kind of exhibition that contains indecent representation of women is considered to be is liable for punishment. So when so unless, for example, a drawing or a painting that is done with an artistic, but cannot be circulated. It cannot be put for the public display. So until other, if it is not done with an artistic expression, then it is not indecent representation of a woman. But anything other than that, that can harm the interests or the attitudes or the behavior of the individuals, by putting across indecent representation. Such is liable for punishment. Now, Children's Act, the Children's Act of 1960 is a landmark in the act that has been passed by the Indian Parliament. The act provides the children to be taken care of, all-round welfare of the child, neglected or delinquent, who has been um, uh, uh, who has been shunned, or who has not whose responsibility is not taken by any member of the family. So such kind of children are to be taken care and seen to it that there is all-round welfare development by the child welfare board. um, uh, it sees to it that the members who has a greater understanding of this child psychology have seen to it that such children are an act has been made keeping the psychology of the children also into cognizance. Um, so this is what the Children's Act looks into, wherein um, uh, the children, even if there are children with criminal background, they needs to be taken back into the society, given education, see to it that they be given some kind uh, uh, of um, like training be given to the children, so that they could pretty much be part of the society. Now, coming to defamation, when we're talking about defamation, is a communication about a person that tends to hurt the person's reputation. Is what is defamation? Defamation is is a liability tort, which means that the intentions of the defamer are not relevant. So, the defamation is termed slander if it is written, and defamation considered to be a libel if it is a gesture. Defamation can be given to both criminal and civil. Whoever, by words either spoken or intent to be read, or by signs or by visible representation, publishes the anything about a person that harms his reputation in the society, then it is considered to be defamation. Um, it may amount to defamation if it is talked about a deceased person. It is also a defamation if the person is living and is intended to be hurtful to the members of the family. It works to be defamation if it is concerning a company or an organization or an institute. For example, there was at one particular time when there was this television program that was Rendezvous with Simi Grewal, wherein Anil Ambani came onto the show along with his wife. And when Simi Grewal was talking to him informally during the chat that was being recorded, by mistake she said, instead of workaholic, she said that as an alcoholic, that he was a great worker. Instead of saying that he was a great workaholic, she ended up saying that he was a great alcoholic. It was a slip of a tongue, but if that part of the shoot went on to air, and if people had seen, then their shares would fall badly, and his image in the society would come hurt badly. Um, so though it was never aired on television, so such kind of things may be done without any intention. So it is defamation, even if you are doing it without intention, because it may cause. Yeah, and if the person goes to court, but if it is corrected and it is corrected and recorded and given a statement, then it doesn't become any more defamation. So libel is something that can be like a permanent. What happened with Simi Grewal and Anil Ambani was that would be coming under a libel. And but this can be taken it on a lighter vein because Anil Ambani himself corrected the word, and it was taken in a jovial manner. So if there was a damage, or if there was damage to the company, or if there is a damage to the reputation of the person, then it is considered to be uh, libel. Then slander is the type of slander is the type where it is mostly based on like words that doesn't there is no permanent record, like it is a spoken statement. Sometimes when there is an argument between two people and someone said something to that person, so that could be a slander, but because it is a kind of a heated argument between both, so both comes, it can cannot be proved under the court of law if there was no witnesses around. So that becomes a slander, because slander is something that perhaps keeps happening among different groups of people, different age groups, different genders. So generally, until unless it is a very serious issue, slander is never, mostly never go to the court. Now, coming to the IPC sections relevant to media, so the section 124A of the IPC state that if any person by any words written or spoken, or by making any visible signs, attempt to bring contempt against the government, then that person can be imprisoned and with a fine or both. Um, uh, uh, IPC section 228, wherein they say that whenever anyone prints or publishes any matter which may make the identity of a person known, because tomorrow under the court of law, for example, if there was some kind of a robbery and some person's name has been put, and his identity is being revealed, then that can be under IPC section. The media can, that particular organization can be taken to court for the reason the person's, if not proven or even if proven, his reputation is at stake. Therefore, it is the media has no right either to show or write any details about the individual, even if it is verified under the court of law. So until unless it is proven under the court of law, otherwise, before the verdict is out, the person's identity should not be revealed. So now coming to the next unit, that is the laws relating to rights. We have the Official Secrets Act of 1923, Right to Information Act 2005, Intellectual Property Rights, Copyright Act of 1957, and Right to Privacy. Now, the Official Secret Act is as the name indicates, is the came into force in the year 1923, and it became Right to Information Act of 2005. It to provide for setting out the practical regime, the right to information, to secure or access to information that may cause damage to the safety and security of the country. So that is what is the Official Secret Act. It is the confidential information that cannot be distributed or that cannot be shared with any people. The act extends to the whole of the country and also to the servants, the governments, to the servants of the government and to the citizens of India who are living outside India. So any kind of classified, non-classified, unclassified documents that carry sensitive information and that can cause damage to the protection of the confidentiality, integrity, or the availability of information, anything that can be considered as top secret, secret, or confidential, restricted information, um, and it is only meant for official use. Any kind of blueprints, pictures, written text, or any verbal communication, non-verbal communication of any such kind of documents is considered to be punishable, seriously punishable under the Official Secret Act. Now, coming to Right to Information Act of 2005, it came into effect in the year 2005. The Right to Information Act was set up to see to it that the citizens of the country have a right to, it provides the citizen to right to be, with the revoking of the Article 370, now the right to, earlier it was not functional in Jammu and Kashmir because it had a state autonomy which was it was not on lines with the constitution of the country. But now, with the revoking of the Articles 370, the Right to Information Act now is applicable to the new union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Um, so, still the RTI is not part of JNK, but the main objective of the Right to Information Act of 2005 is to empower the citizens to promote transparency and accountability in the working of the government run institutions. The RTI Act is an important steps towards having an informed citizenry, and also to have some kind of an objective control over objective information gathering from the government by the citizens. The Central Information Commission is set up under the Right to Information Act. and has members information about 10 information commissioners. So they are all appointed by the President of India. The State Information Commission will be constituted by the state government. So any kind of information regarding any department, be it Public Works Department, the Electricity Department, the Human Rights Department, or the Child and Welfare Department, and any department that we can talk about, or any information, if the people have to get any kind of information, they can apply to the state information commissioner at the state level, and it is the responsibility of the state the state information commissioner and the information commissioners to see to it that their questions are answered, and there is a procedure for that. But if anything comes under um, the Official Secret Act, or anything that can be causing damage to the with the like classified information, so such can be not answered. So the RTI involves timely disclosure of information. So the public information officer has to be written in request. So they have to do it either through a banker's check or an Indian postal order of 10 rupees. So they have made it so easily accessible even to the weakest. And the idea behind the Chief Information Act is very um, noble, because they want to see to it that the information reaches the doorsteps of the people at all levels. So, if at all the applicant and if the answer, if the applicant is satisfied with the answer, if at all the applicant need further information for the xeroxes, for the duplication of the copies, then the applicant may be made to pay further fee. Um, if the request has been made to the reply has to be given technically within 30 days from the date of the receipt of the application. But if it goes to the information regarding corruption and human rights violation by security agencies, it has to be provided within 45 days. And uh, um, uh, if the life or the liberty of any person is involved, the public information has to give it within a period of 48 hours. So there is always there are exceptional ways through which the information can be brought to the people based on the need and the necessity of the person who of the applicant. Now, if the CIC or the State Information Commissioner fail to do it, receiver information, denied the request for information, or gives an incorrect or incomplete information, a penalty of 2,050 rupees. 250 is imposed per day till the RTI applicant receives the required information. So that way, there is a kind of a balance that is done with the Official Secret Act and the Right to Information Act, wherein the Official Secret Act might not be it protects any kind of information that would be harmful for the country to be disclosed. On the other hand, there is the Right to Information Act, which enables the people under right to information to get any kind of information again at a very nominal fee, as long as it doesn't hurt the safety and security of the country. Now, coming to the intellectual property rights, um, the intellectual property rights are the rights or protection granted to the citizens of the country. It includes trademarks, copyrights, patents, industrial design, um, and in some countries, trade secrets. So, if someone um, makes or patents a particular thing, such kind of patenting enables to have the intellectual property over that product, and no until unless the no other it is challenged, no other person has the right to use that product make use of it without their knowledge. Rights are protected under intellectual property right are patents, copyrights like concerning the musical works, writings, paintings, dramatic works, novels, sound recording, photographs, any kind of architectural works, and all those this. Then coming to trademarks, industrial designs, integrated routes and layout designs, farmer rights, plant varieties, um, and new discoveries and inventions. So duration of the intellectual property rights, the patent will be mostly for 20 years. Trademark registration is for 10 years from the date of, and they have to uh, renew the application periodically. Then copyright generally lasts for a period of 60 years. Chip layout design is mostly for 10 years. For the registered copy, variety is 18 years for trees and vines and 15 for other crops. So you have a variety of these acts. The Copyright Act of 1957 is applicable to a piece of literature, work, or drama. If some person copies others' music, so then it comes under a Copyright Act, and they can be taken to the court of law. So there, many a times we hear the people coming up saying that the story of many successful movies are their own original, and it has been lifted by the concerned director or the story writer. So, but when such cases happen, they are taken to the court of law, and with with good proofs, it can be contested in the court of law. So, in case of literary or musical or dramatic works, the, the copyright can be applicable. Um, um, for doing any, for taking their work, be it in the form of reproducing or performing or with uh, providing, giving them the credit will allow them, like if proper permission is being taken from them, and credit is and with a written permission from them, and providing them with due credit, they are authorized to publish the works or perform the works in public, or to make any adaptation of the work. For example, we have Chetan Bhagat's novel that was with his permission, was reproduced into Three Idiots, and it was a huge success, and there was no discussion on copyright, because the author himself gave the permission to make the book into a movie, so an adaptation of the work. So any kind of artistic work, or a cinematographic work, or any kind of work, can be reproduced provided they have the permission from the concerned people. So the duration of the copyright. So that's the reason, whenever we watch a film, or whenever we read a book, or whenever we see a painting, it is always put that it is under copyright regulation. So any piece of artistic work, the author copyrights for the author and creator for original literary and dramatic, musical, and artistic work would be for 60 years from the year, from the beginning of the next year. So it is mostly from the date of the publication of the work up to 60 years. Then it is open for people, and they can reproduce it, or take that as a reference without any kind of authorization. Punishment could be maybe imprisonment or fine, or both. So now, next coming to right to privacy. Right to privacy is as an interesting part of the right to life and personal liberty under Article 21, that is guaranteed under the Part 3 of the Constitution. Right to privacy is the part of human rights for the individual. So it says that if that every person has the right to privacy until unless that person is in the public public figure, because the because they have kept their lives under for this open for the society. So right to privacy is something that is a difficult thing for the public figures, but any other individual who doesn't go up in by displaying their life in public, such any kind of thing, any even for the public figures, the privacy has to be honored, because if any photograph or any kind of communication is put up in the open without the consent of the public figure, until unless it damages uh, it is harmful for the society. But otherwise, putting open the lives of the public figures is can be considered to be contempt, and they can be taken to the court of law. So, right to privacy is something that has to be enjoyed by people, whether they are if they are there in the public life, or if they are not there in the public life. So it has to be done. It has to be protected. So even persons, people who have uh, though even people who have committed murders, or who are there doing some kind of illegal activities, until unless it is proven in the court of law, their names should not be and should not be put up in the public sphere. More so if the children are if the person is below 18 years, and if they are children, they have they are not to be disclosed. Um, uh, uh, the private life of an individual, be it whether it is right or wrong, is not the concern of other individuals. So, any person holding public office which interferes with the discharge of the duties concerned cannot be permitted in the name of privacy. Um, though it is not specifically guaranteed as a fundamental right in the Constitution, uh, but later on it is implied in the right to life and personal liberty under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Article 12 says that that no one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with the privacy, family, home, or correspondence. But if anyone does that, uh, um if um, uh, if it is being violated, they can be taken to the court of law. Now, coming to the unit 3, which is media and human rights. So, the media plays a major role in protecting and promoting the human rights in the world. So, when the media has come into existence, the purpose of the media is to safeguard, to act as the voice of the oppressed, voice of the downtrodden, voice of the minorities, voice of the people in the general. So that is the reason why the media, that is the kind of role that is expected from the media to be played. So the media is supposed to play a very valuable role in cause of human rights at the time of providing ecological balances towards protecting the environment, seeing that the forest, about protecting the forest, and protecting the rights of all people across, like irrespective of caste, gender, or religion, color, and creed. Um, so now with the Vienna Declaration, the World Conference of Human Rights that was held in the year 1993, it marks a crucial stage in the United Nations policy in the field of human rights. The Vienna Declaration encouraged the United Nations to pursue and strengthen its activities to make respect for human rights a priority objective on the same level as development and democracy, and to work for the concurrent objective of the three objectives. Um, so the media plays a very important role in in reporting, analyzing, and commenting. Um, uh, um, the main aim of the journalist, while talking about human rights, is not towards gaining attention, is more towards solving or trying to enable to solve a particular case. So the media should restrain and refrain from statements and pictures, so that it is not doing it for the sake of, like for example, if there is some kind of a communal violence that is happening, the purpose of the media is not to flare up the communal riots. Instead, put it in a very objective way by not instigating or causing any kind of disturbances in the society. So the media has a very responsible role to play, um, and it and sees to it that a great element of restraint is essential on the part of media for greater good of the society. Now, while discussing about social media ethics, behavioral targeting is a questionable area to consider. It can be up to the it is just not about the mainstream media where the news channels targeting communities or groups or or people or associations. It is also about how advertisers or the companies use various methods through which they trick the people towards buying a product. So with the coming of internet, mostly where the online shopping is happening, wherein they try to use unethical means, that like with the kind of a click, it is enforcing that it is trying to track the behavior and putting across objects that are not to be bought, like for or psychologically playing with the mindset of the consumers and making them buy the products. So such kind uh, uh, of invasion to privacy is what is happening. Though there are measures that are being taken, if you take the Facebook or you take Twitter or LinkedIn, so such kind of interference with the privacy of the individuals and targeting them based on their or behavior online. So that is what is happening. Even on YouTube, we start looking into a particular kind of videos. Same kind of videos keep coming. So this is what that is happening with the coming of artificial intelligence and intruding into the privacy of the individuals. Now, so media ethics is something, is a big, very big topic to be discussed about. Be it the Facebook or the YouTube or the emails, the promotional mails that keep coming, though not being subscribed to. Apart from that, on the phones, where, in spite of having do not disturb mode, we still keep coming. They still keep coming with the advertisements from Bajaj Alliance, Airtel, and you name a company, and all these things. Apart from that, online frauds are something that is happening on a bigger scale, because the numbers are shared on the numbers are shared by the telecom companies, and through these numbers, the marketeers call the people and cause big losses, whether they are literate or illiterate, irrespective of what they are. This is what is happening. Now, coming to civil rights, civil rights guarantees equal social opportunities and equal protection for the under the law regarding of uh, whatever the situation might be, or where whatever the background might be. So guarantees equal social opportunities to all the citizens, irrespective of the race, religion, and personal characteristics, and right to government services, the right to public education. So the basic civil rights that we are talking about is about the right to life, right to family life. So one of the civil rights is man must live before he can do anything. So the state's responsibility is to provide the facilities to the person, so that they can have a meaningful life, and provide, and also provide them safety, so that they have the basic necessities in terms of food, clothing, and shelter. Then every individual has the right to marry a person of the choice and have children. A right to education is an important right. It is also there as part of the fundamental rights. It is there as part of directive principles. It is there as part of civil rights, where every state gives opportunity to its citizens. Even if it is an elite school, the right to education, which is a fundamental right, also sees to it that, irrespective of the background, every school shall have a percentage of seats allocated for the people uh, um, with 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 not an elite background, but some kind of a background that would enable uh, better freedom, better education facilities to all the people. Then right to personal freedom. Every individual has right to personal freedom towards the mental and physical growth, and live a life according to without causing any kind of disturbance to the others. Right to religious freedom, right to have any religion that they would like to follow, and right to freedom of thought and expression, right to freedom of movement, to be able to go to any part of the country and also buy and live in any part of the country of their choice. Then right to justice, right to form associations. Now coming to NHRC and SHRC, the National Human Rights Commission, as we have talked about human rights. So on line with the human rights, there is this national it's a statutory body constituted in the 1993 to protect human rights, so that um, it is the responsibility of the National Human Rights Commission to protect individuals and rights relating to life, liberty, equality, and dignity of the individual, guaranteed by the Constitution. So, what are the basic protection rights to be protected? It is protection of human rights for their effective implementation, um, to study treaties and other international instruments on human rights and make recommendations. So, they just it's just not about seeing that they have a better life of the citizens, but also seeing that, looking at the broader picture, looking at how different human rights associations function globally, and try to make them effective in the if according to the needs of the society, make them implement even in India. The to to visit NGOs, to visit the welfare welfare shelter homes, welfare homes of children, of juvenile kids, and see to it that the facilities are being provided to them. Engage in human rights education, and it is generally the NHRC is chaired by the Supreme Court judge of the Supreme Court, and one member who has been a judge of the Supreme Court. In addition, apart from that, we have chairpersons of the national commissions, for example, for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, for women, for minorities, for backward classes. So the commissioners of all these things are also, so that to bring in some kind of sensitivities in the way where it is being implemented. The State Human Rights Commission also has a judge composed of chairperson and members appointed by the governor in consultation with the chief minister, home minister. Um, the chairman is a retired judge of the court. One of the members should be a serving retired judge. So any kind of abatement thereof, any kind of negligence by the public servants in terms of safeguarding the lives of the people. Next, undertake, promote research in the field of human rights, encourage the efforts of the NGOs in terms of working in the field of human rights. So, for example, we had this person who has been working to protect the lives of the people who cleans manholes. So, such kind of people who are otherwise of menial jobs. So, such the interests of those people are many people lose their lives cleaning the manholes. So all such kind of groups of people who are unnoticed in the society, their rights have to be taken care of, and those activities are done by the Human Rights Commission. So media and children rights and media and women rights, especially, they play a very important role in terms of protecting the rights of the women. Like whenever an advertisement come, or when not glorifying the crime against women, um, or protecting or projecting any act on women as something chivalrous. So such kind of acts are not to be shown by the media. So when we are talking about media and human rights, it also looks into the way the children have to be shown on television, not to make them vulnerable to the advertisements, or not to show anything that can cause violent attitude, or violent, that can cause about or bring about violent behavior among children. So the NHRC or SHRC, the civil rights, the human rights, all these bodies aim to bring about some kind of normalcy in the society by representing the voices of the people, and who are downtrodden, who are neglected, who are oppressed, and see to it that by providing them education, by making them aware of their rights, enabling to making them understand and make them aware of their rights. Thank you.